This episode is sponsored by Fraze Flowers, a Western New York family-run flower farm and floral preservationist. They now offer unique pressed flowers in the shape of buffaloes in prints, in different sizes, in handmade wooden frames. Be on the lookout for Bills, Sabres, and Bandits colored buffaloes coming soon.
You can get a hold of them on their website at phraseflowers.com. That's Frase flowers.com. Or check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Bring more joy and color into your life at Fraze Flowers.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Friday, May 30th, 2025. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host Phil, episode 364. Phil, we officially made it. This is the final episode ever. Just kidding. Of this season of the Buffalo Sports Collective for our in-season coverage. After this episode, we go strictly one show a week. Every Wednesday up until December, so you will only hear us in your ear holes for a regular scheduled episode once a week. We're working on some behind the scenes details, so it's possible that you also hear at least one of us, maybe both of us. It's possible all three of us in your ears twice a week, maybe three times a week. It'll be sporadic, but we'll keep you updated as we go. But we officially made it. We concluded our fourth full season covering the Buffalo Bandits. Congratulations to us both. It was every year we've done this, we've increased our workload because people keep listening and following and reading our content, that we're just like, hey, if people keep wanting it, we'll keep doing it. We've said it jokingly, so I'll put it out there. If there's any interns that want to come work for the BSC for free, we don't offer college credit. We don't offer paid scholarships. We don't offer paid positions whatsoever. But if you just want to come and work behind the scenes and take some workload off of us,
reference letter.
Yeah, we'll write you a nice reference letter, and maybe Phil or producer Pat will do it, because I can't even pronounce people's names, so you don't want me doing it. If you've read my articles, you definitely don't want me to write your reference letter. But see, Leber, I can't even speak right. But yeah, this concludes season 4, or year 4 of the BSC covering the Buffalo Bandits. It's been our busiest one yet. We both wrote a ton of articles. We started up the interview series. It's been nonstop action with the BSC. We both have reached the point where it's a welcomed break.
Yeah, like I told you a little bit ago, that when I was writing the final article of the year, it was a little sad as I closed down all my tabs with all my stats and everything that it was just, closing it all down, shut the computer down. I was like, oh, it's the last article of the season. And obviously I'm not sad to, I do enjoy writing the articles quite a bit. They are a lot of work, but they are also a lot of fun to write. Hope people read them. But also it was just the conclusion of another year. And as amazing as it finished, sometimes it is a bit sad. You're like, oh, there are no more Bandits games to go to. You can't be in that atmosphere for a while. And then I also thought about how quickly we will be asked to renew our season tickets and have that money in. And that is right around the corner. So I'm going to enjoy the break, because I'm sure it'll feel very quick that they're already right back at it like it did last time.
Yeah, so before we dive into, we already went over it a couple episodes ago, but we're going to go do it because this is, again, our last Friday show. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. I was on Talking Buffalo yesterday, so today, Thursday. I was on Wednesday night. It came out on Thursday's episode, and he's trying this new software. He tried Riverside StreamYard. He's on something else now, and I couldn't remember what my Twitter handle was, so we just started using Buffalo Sports Co. So, that's under my tag name every time I'm going to be on Talking Buffalo now, because I'm like, I don't even use mine. I don't even know what it is. So use Buffalo Sports Go. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. That includes YouTube, iHeart, Audacity. It used to be Stitcher until Stitcher disappeared. I think they're gone now. We're everywhere you can find podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Give Phil's article a read. It's the final one of this in season between the both of us. Maybe we can get producer Pat to write something, because he's written one so far. He said he was going to do one every month, and I'm putting him on blast now. But give that one a read. It came out on Tuesday. You can check out our store on our link. I'm just burning it all down today, Phil. It's a wild show. You can check out our store on our link tree on our social media sites, or at the top of the website by hitting the shop tab. You can represent the BSC on the go, and there will be no time breakdowns because this is all Bandits only. Like we started off the show, final in-season episode of the year. June through November, and including November, we will be one show a week every Wednesday. We made this switch a few off seasons ago because there's not a ton of lacrosse going on. Yeah, last year was a little bit different with Panther City and dispersal draft and all that kind of stuff, but this year it's kind of CBA, and it's going to probably be pretty quiet, especially if Adam Levy's not around to give us all the updates, because who knows who's going to if he doesn't step back into that role. But it kind of was draining us. Not that we hated it, and not that we couldn't keep doing 2 shows a week throughout the summer, but it's just for the betterment of ourselves, our sanity, and the show. We thought, okay, cut it back to 1 show a week, regroup for 6 months, and then we're right back on December through May. We are the only Bandits podcast, the only Bandits content really that goes year round. We're one of the very few lacrosse shows that go year round. I think Lax Class does it. I think OTCB guys might be doing with Pat and Teddy. They might be doing it. I'll have to figure out a few more that I'm sure there's a few more that I'm missing that go year round, but we're one of the few that keeps going in the off season. So what you can expect from us, if this is your first time listening to this and you're like, oh man, they're going away. We're not going away. What you can expect this off season. And that's what we call our June through November, even though it's not really an off-season for us.
The Bandits off-season is our off-season.
Yes, pretty much. We run clockwise with the Bandits, sort of. Bandits and NL content will be on every single show. You might get some Bills and Sabres coverage, but for sure, Bandits and NL coverage on every single episode. These episodes are more fun. Phil and I like these episodes a lot more because we don't have a checklist that we have to go over. Where there's not like a preview of, okay, we got to go through these players and the stats and stuff. We can kind of be more free-flowing, kind of like how this one started where I'm just bashing producer Pat and stuff. We can get a little bit more creative. So some things that are coming up that you can expect. Report cards are going to be back this year. Ref, GM, commissioner for the day are going to be back. We have all the free agents that are going to be on schedule. And again, we'll go over that in a little bit. But next Wednesday is our first off-season show. It will be the nominations for the 4th annual BSC Bandits Award Show. That following Wednesday, we will be handing out those awards. But we need your help. We will be putting out a post on Monday. That will be June 2nd for everyone. We have done this in the past, and we're doing it again this year. We want to break some records of prior year on how many people voted, and it's going to be a fun one. But it's the fan vote. Once again, all you have to do is just cast your vote by commenting, messaging, emailing, whatever's best way to get in contact with us. We'll find it. Just list the player's name, and we will total it up. And then voting will go through Monday, June 2nd, 2025, until the end of day, Monday, June 9th. And then June 11th, we will announce the winner. I guess if you really want to count up all the comments and the messages and all that kind of stuff, I guess you can't count the DMs, but you can
get an idea.
Figure out the winner beforehand, at least get a rough estimate. But I think last year's winner was Chase Frazier, and he had up over 100 votes for him. So it can be any player that played this year. It can even be like a Bryce Sweeting. It doesn't matter. As long as they were on the team under a contract with the Buffalo Bandits this season, they are eligible to get the vote. It's just a fun little thing to get everybody involved in it. But that has turned into one of my favorite awards that we hand out each year, even though, they just get an announcement and a fake trophy that we pretend to send in the mail.
Yeah, maybe this year we'll use AI and see what it'll come up with a trophy for us. Like, hey, make a trophy based on this, and we'll see what it can do. But unlike our Sabres awards, we will be a little bit more excited, possibly a little bit more dressed up for the YouTubers, and hopefully getting some good content out there. But yeah, we'll be a little more jazzed. I feel like the Sabres Awards were relatively depressing more than anything. It was a very sad award show. But the Bandits won, especially after a 3P, was much more exciting, much more lively, and we'll have a lot more fun with it. So that'll be a good time.
So as you can tell, this is kind of like house cleaning moments here, tidying up the end of the in-season before we get to the off-season. Another thing, this off-season, we have a rough idea of the topics. I kind of went over some of the rough outlines and some examples of what we're going to do, but we also want to frame these shows so that you that listen have interest in what we're even discussing. So we're going to reach out, and you can even reach out to us even before the post. Are there interviews that you want us to try to set up? We're going to try, but there's no promises. Like if you want us to interview Mark Stainhouse, which everybody's claiming that's one of the toughest interviews, we'll try, but there's no promises. Is there topics that you want us to discuss? Team, sport, league-wise, CBA, legit anything you want us to hear? We will try our best to make it happen on the show. Not promising it, not guaranteeing it, but we will add it to the docket if we have time that, all off season, we're going to find time to fill in the gaps here. We will try to include anything that you shoot our way. So we'll be making a post about this very soon, sending it off into all the social media chats. So we want to hear from you, what you want to hear about from and about us. So pretty much any topics that you might be interested in hearing about, one thing that you might not, maybe something that isn't talked enough about, maybe something that you wish we would have talked more about in the in-season that we didn't have time for, any of that kind of stuff. So we want to hear from you on what you want to listen to, because we're pretty much making this because you guys all listen out there, so might as well involve you a little bit more than we typically do.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea, and I hope we get some responses because, like you said, you and I can come up with topics for days. You and I talk about all of this stuff outside of the podcast.
Remember
obviously.
Producer Pat said, how are you going to make a show that's half an hour, just you two, and we have trouble keeping it to 60 minutes twice a week?
Most times, yes. Yeah. And yeah, so we absolutely have plenty of topics for ourselves. We're not dying for anything. We have plenty of topics and things that we have in store to discuss, but we also want to include things
Maybe
that the
listeners something better.
Care about. Right, exactly. We have plenty of things that we find interesting, but that doesn't necessarily always mean that's what the listeners want to hear. Or like PK just said, maybe there's something that you are passionate about that we don't talk enough about. Anything, literally anything. And like you said, no promises, but we will give it a shot. And we are always happy with feedback, comments, whatever it is. We want to make this show better for the listeners. So we try and will be trying more often to include the listeners in some of our content and what we do and try to create.
Even if you think we stink, you hate us,
that's
let us know
fine
why. That's all we're asking for. You can keep hating us and not liking us. Just like to know the reason why. And if you're staying silent, that's fine too. As long as you're listening, I don't care. Lastly, next show, we will be finally, and I'm raising my hand because I am guilty of this. It's completely my fault. We will be announcing the random winner for the Bandits fantasy game. We will be contacting both the winner and, yes, our champion, Jackson B, next week to get their info to send you over the prize pack. Don't think we forgot about you. I'm just dragging my feet. I was kind of waiting until the end of May so we can get to the off-season mode so everything else is out of my brain and I can focus on getting you guys what you rightfully deserve. Jackson B's 100% getting a prize pack, and then we're going to do a random winner this weekend. Spoiler alert, if you're the winner, I'm going to be contacting before the episode, so don't spoil it for everybody, but we'll be announcing the random winner on the next show. Sadly, producer Pat, Phil, and I are ineligible to win that. I tried. I fought corporate. They said no. But don't think we forgot about you. We really do appreciate everybody that played the Bandits fantasy game. We're bringing it back next year. We're going to try to make improvements. It's on the docket of stuff to do this offseason with a lot of other stuff. Producer Pat's going to be very busy this offseason, upgrading and doing a lot of things, hopefully to make everything look and sound and be nicer and flashier and more improved for year number 5.
Which one of our pets is corporate, or is it all of them?
I think it's just all of them. They sit around this table just staring at us. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Which reminds me, one of the other puppies is getting adopted on Saturday, so we're going to be down to 1. Hey. We're back down to a 3-dog household. That's half of what we had a few weeks ago, Phil.
We're losing board members left and right.
That's fine. Maybe one of you or I are going to get promoted into it. But finally, we are finally here Bandits time. We're done with talking about all the stuff corporate makes us talk about. And yeah, there is actually a corporate out there, guys. Don't think it's just Phil, me, and producer Pat behind the scenes. There's higher ups that tell us what to do, not just our wives. But here we go. Very, very quickly, way too early off-season plans / league for the Bandits and the NLL. We're not going to dive fully into this because I know, but we're going to go over it because I know there's going to be questions asked on it, because after this parade and after the celebration downtown, as you're listening to this now, Friday, there's going to be questions. Okay, what's next? What does the league look like? Everything else. So the first elephant in the room, there is need for a new CBA. We have seen in the past, no new CBA, no start to new league year, sad PK and Phil. Free agency usually opens August 1st. Last year it was delayed twice because of Panther City folding. Previous years, CBA wasn't signed, free agency doesn't open until the CBA is locked up because contracts and stuff figure that, depending on CBA, expect that to be pushed if it's not done by August 1st. Draft usually September. Again, CBA pending. So a lot of this stuff in this offseason, and a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about in just a second here, is a lot of CBA pending, because the CBA pretty much dictates a lot of stuff that happens in this league. It's a very big year for the CBA. The last one was signed, I think it was before COVID, and I believe the players of the league opted out the year after COVID. So this is a 3-year contract that just ended this year, so the whole Bandits run there was that last CBA. So I know nothing about it other than what Brett Frood and Reed Reinhold and all the guys that on the podcast have said so far. I'm hoping that they're going to be getting something close, because the league can't afford to miss any time whatsoever, especially after hearing that Game 3 saw 300,000 viewers. It's an insane number.
Yeah, we saw that today, and I'm still shocked, and it's shocked in a good way, for sure. I did not expect 300,000 people to tune in to a game like that. I assumed most of the people in Buffalo that wanted to see it were either there or maybe an extra, I have no idea, 20, 30,000 max, I would say, like bonus watchers that weren't able to make it to the game. Outside of that, you have the Rush people watching. You have maybe, 10, 20, 30 again max there. So outside of that, I mean, yes, you have people around the league that might watch, but your casual fan probably isn't tuning into Game 3 of the finals to watch Buffalo possibly win again. So I mean, to get an extra 200K plus out of, I don't know what, is fantastic for the league. Like you said, it's a lot of eyes on it. And I mean, it was a great, my brother, was talking about the game, how it was perfect for Bandit Land and the Bandits, but also to me, it was perfect for lacrosse. There were no fights, which they like to kind of advertise, but you had the incredible goal. You had a very competitive first half, so it wasn't like a blowout the entire game. So it was very tight, very close, fun first half. And then for Bandit Land and the Bandits, they ran away with it, and you could party for a very long time, and it was still a great game. But for the 300,000 people watching, I think it was a good display of what the NLL is.
So before we dive into the other quick stuff that we're going to go over, our second sponsor of the show is Tap That Tap Room at 363 Delaware Street in Tonawanda, New York. What are you doing tonight? Go to Tap That Tap Room. Buffalo's first woman-owned self-pour bar featuring 30 consistently rotating taps. They offer a variety of beers, ciders, sours, seltzers, and malt beverages. Phil, take it away.
The Bandits watch parties may be over, but the events never stop coming. As you all know, happy hour on Friday from 3 to 7. But this week, you can also get Orso Nero Pizza on Friday from 5 to 10 to go along with the discounted beer wall on Saturday. It's free darts Saturday all day long. You can go there and play free darts. There's also going to be another pizza party, again, from 5 to 10 from Orso Nero Pizza. And then finally on Sunday, what PK has been talking about and asking about for about a month now, there is Sunday Fun Day with the patio open and the beer wall discounted all day long. It is supposed to be sunny, 64 degrees, and you can get there, check out that patio that PK has been, bragging about, and find your new favorite drink at a discount. And for the other upcoming events, check out their Facebook page, and to find out what's on tap and what's on deck, check out tapthattaproom.com. They have something
for everyone, literally everyone. Still haven't been paid for that any day now. But as far as picks go for the Buffalo Bandits, because again, we're going to go through these quicker. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it because it is a dedicated episode down the road as we get further. But again, I know a lot of people are going to be asking these questions. We'll put it out there, and then when people ask, we'll just reference this episode. Go listen to it. As far as picks go, excluding compensatory picks, which I do not believe they're going to be awarded any this year, because I think it was just Dalton Solver that really left in free agency. I don't know if he's going to be able to command. I don't know that whole framework. There's smarter people out there that know that kind of stuff. But just based on that, I don't think there's going to be compensatory picks, but could be completely wrong.
What about Robinson?
Robinson was traded. Both of the Robinsons were traded, so
you
don't get compensatory picks for that. They got one for Kevin Brownell a few years ago. I think they might have gotten one for Ethan O'Connor when he went to Rochester as well. I think it has to do with how much the other person signs for with the other team. I think that's what it's based on. That's what it's based on other leagues, I believe. Again, don't quote me. Don't know all that kind of stuff. Not that bright. But draft picks coming up here. Buffalo has their own first. They have their own second, along with Phillies from the dispersal draft last year. Remember, they traded that pick to Philly, who I believe they took Tony Malcolm. Maybe? Don't remember. I'll have to look back. Third round pick belonged to Ottawa. It is now Buffalo's, part of a 4-team deal that sent Sam LaRue to Ottawa. They have their own 4th round pick. They have their own 5th, along with Saskatchewan's 5th round pick from the pick 72 trade last year. So in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picks out of 6 rounds this coming draft. Again, could be in September, could be pushed. No idea with the CBA, but they're still loaded. So don't think that even if some of these guys move on or retire or so on and so forth, they're still backloaded. Steve Dietrich has worked wonders keeping picks, but also making this team just super competitive.
Yeah, and for the one comment that was out there, not going to name names by any means, but Kirst is not coming to Buffalo.
Yeah, we put it at a 1%, and Scott was like, yeah, think of a 0%. I commented back, I was like, yeah, even saying 1% seemed too high for me.
Yeah, any of the top players in the draft, 100% going to Toronto. They are in a rebuild. They are unlikely to trade any of those. It's possible. Not gonna
even if
say
they do, it's not. They're not trading with Buffalo. Why would they do that?
No. Especially because Buffalo, has the last pick of the first round. It would take quite a lot to get all the way up to where Toronto was picking. So expect Buffalo to probably pick where they are.
So again, we'll fly through these contracts locked up through the 2025-2026 season at least. Again, all these statuses between the guys who aren't eligible for RFAs, UFAs, they might all change with this new CBA. So this is as it currently stands right now. Byrne, McKay, Priolo, Smith, and Whitty are only the contracts that are locked up right now. Evan C. is signed to a protected practice player contract, so he is locked in. You can only sign one of your practice squad players to that type of deal, so he's locked in right now. So they have 6 guys under contract. You also have 3 guys who they drafted last year who will need contracts this year. Luca Anton Giovanni still nailed that pick. He was the 8th overall pick last year. Angus McDonald and Bryce Cordingley. McDonald was the 57th overall pick. Cordingley was the 65. So those guys could also be signed to deals to come into camp. I am very interested to see what Giovanni. I'm going to start calling him Lag. LAG. I'm going to go with that. But yeah, those are 3 players that also have the rights with Buffalo right now. Now, NE, or how I call it, is just players that have not reached enough seasons or games played to reach RFA status. That means you have to play 3 seasons and 26 games played as of this CBA. So that's Zach Belter, Connor Farrell, Lucas Nielsen, Cam Wires, and Emerson Clark. All 5 of those guys still have their rights with Buffalo. They just need new contracts. They can't go elsewhere. RFA, restricted free agents. That means their rights remain with the team, but another team can offer them a deal, and Buffalo can just match it. You rarely ever see this in any type of sports, but especially in NLL. Ron John, Nana Coke, Steve Orleman, and Dylan Robinson. Those are your 4 RFAs. UFAs, they're unrestricted free agents. That means technically they can sign anywhere, because you can reach RFA or UFA status 2 different ways. You can be 30 years old and have 6 completed seasons, or 8 completed seasons, either or. Like, you can get a player like Christian Del Bianco, who's been in the league since he's 10, and it will be a UFA for a while. And then once you reach the age of 30, you can reject the franchise tag. So that's built in here. But there's a lot of UFAs on this team. Chris Cloutier, Chase Frazier, Justin Martin, Sweeting, Dooley, Robertson, Scanlon. Because if you're a practice squad player and you weren't activated to the active roster, you are a UFA. The guys that can reject the franchise tag are Buchanan, Dawson, Matisse, Spanger, Weiss, and Matt Vince. So again, don't worry. This is the biggest thing. Don't worry that there's so many free agents and players that need contract. This is a typical thing in the league. This is a typical thing for the NLL, and it's very, very, very expected with the CBA coming like this, because a lot of guys sign 1-year deals. A lot of these guys maybe signed a 2-year deal and it's up after the CBA because you don't know how the CBA is going to work. So a lot of guys plan for this, and this is just a common thing around the league. So don't freak out. Don't go start panicking and burning down the streets. That's just how the contracts are worked out currently, and that's how the contracts currently stand with the Buffalo Bandits.
I mean, right now, for the players they have signed, they have one solid line. I mean, Byrne, Smith, your forwards, McKay transition, Priola, Woody on defense. Not bad.
Evan C. is your goalie. There you go.
Yeah, that is a championship winning roster. 6 players, they're good. They are all set. They do not need anybody else. They're going to roll into the season with 6. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time.
I promise they are not the only team like this. I was doing the numbers. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. I was doing the off-season stuff to get prepared for this. There are a lot of teams out there that have
like
a
you
lot
said,
of
the
guys.
CBA is big. Like, all players were keeping an eye on this. Not necessarily teams, but all the players who, you know, might want a better contract due to the new CBA and what it might mean to the league may have waited and, you know, signed a smaller deal until that CBA is complete. So a lot of teams across the league are going to be dealing with similar things.
For example, Vegas has 3 guys under contract right now. Philly has 6. Rochester has 5. San Diego's got a good amount. I'm just going through the names really quick. Saskatchewan's got 4. Toronto has a good enough number. And then Vancouver has 4. So it's not like it's just Buffalo. This is a common thing around the NLL. Just putting that out there so people relax. It's not that big of a deal. If you see guys sign new deals, I would be shocked if you see a player sign a new deal before the CBA. I don't even know if they're allowed to. I have no idea how that stuff works. But yeah, the CBA is the biggest thing this offseason to worry about. But again, a lot of people are going to be asking. We just wanted to put it out there now so you can just reference this episode whenever you need to. But we'll start going over what this episode was planned for about halfway through it. It is the prediction show, and it's the reveal of how our predictions went before last offseason, or before this last season started. This we all did this in November. So if some of these sound stupid, remember, we did this before the season started, guys. Let's hear some of your predictions. Calm down. The real standings, we'll go over the standings because Phil and I predict the standings. 1 through 14, our top 8 make the playoffs. The real ones, number 1 was Buffalo, Saskatchewan, Halifax, Vancouver, Rochester, Calgary, Georgia, San Diego, and then the 6 teams that missed it: Ottawa, Colorado, Albany, Philly, Toronto, and Las Vegas. Phil, would you like to go over your teams that you had in the top 8?
Yeah, my top 8 were San Diego, Albany, Buffalo, Toronto, Rochester, Georgia, Colorado, and the Rush.
So you nailed 5 of 8. You didn't have any perfect, but I believe you did 6 or 5 last year as well. I should have looked up stats last year. But yeah, what really hurt us, and it hurt us both, because I had San Diego as my number 1 seed. I had Buffalo, Albany, Toronto, Colorado, Rochester, Georgia, and Saskatchewan. What killed us was Vancouver making it, because neither of us had that. Calgary and Halifax making it, because neither one of us had that. And then Albany blowing up, Toronto stinking. That definitely hurt as well.
Yeah.
And then Colorado just breaking apart. That was our biggest misses by far. But yeah, we
Toronto
were both
going from 15-3 to dead last.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. I'm sorry. I should have predicted the number 1 team with 3 losses to go from that to the worst team in the NLL.
And then Albany, who just made the finals, not to make it.
Right, also not to make it. And we did, for our own sake, we did both at Vancouver 9th, and that was without Christian Del Bianco.
Yeah.
So we had them pretty close.
They were gonna be 9th if it wasn't if he stayed on his couch. They were 9th.
Right,
we were right.
They were not making it. So that's his fault.
So
that's not on us.
Yeah.
Again, before the season, we were right. I can't predict future trades.
We also were down on Ottawa. We were also down on Philly. Philly had that hot start, starting 5-1, 5-2.
Yeah.
And we were both like, oh no. And then they started crumbling apart with 8 straight losses. So this is 2 years in a row that we weren't with the majority of saying, hey, this is a Philly year. They got the new goalie, Higgins, back there, and then it's they moved and they fixed the offense, and Brendan O'Neill's coming in. We're like, we're still not seeing it. Like, I think they made improvements, but we're still not seeing it, especially with a rookie coach. And then they just went on that 8-game losing streak. So we might not have, I think between us both, we nailed one perfect pick, and I had Georgia as my 7th seed. I nailed that one, but we both went 5-8. I don't think that's bad considering how fluid and how insane this season went.
Yeah, and I think our biggest non-playoff miss, Calgary was one of them, but I think Halifax was probably the biggest.
Yeah, Halifax was the biggest miss, yeah.
We both had them pretty low, and they did great. So Calgary was the other one. You had them last, and they made it all the way into the top 8, so...
I didn't expect that. They were selling off all their pieces, and somehow they made it because Curtis Dixon and Dane Dobie were like, yeah, we're not old. Watch this. And then they had 2 of their best statistical seasons ever, and then they trade for Nick Rose, and they added Braden Lady, and it's just you trade away all your players. Shane Simpson goes out the door. You don't have Christian Del Bianco. Zach Currier gets traded. All your star players are gone. You bring back Curtis Dixon and Dane Dobie, and both of us are like, what the heck is this team doing? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then it's like, oh, this is why we're behind a microphone and not in a front office. That makes sense. And then they just make the 6th seed and was one of the highest scoring offenses in the league. But yeah, we did okay. And again, considering how this league was, I think we did pretty stinking good with predicting the matchups.
I will say that what we said about Calgary in the offseason was, if you don't think you can knock off Buffalo, then why are you adding these pieces? Like, yes, you want to be competitive. I'm not saying you just want to fold every single season by any means, but they were doing a lot of weird things where all of a sudden they seemed like they were going to be a team to really push for playoffs. And it was like, that's fine, but do you have enough of a roster to truly compete and win the finals? Because if you don't, it's not really worth it. And they did not.
So we'll go through our NLL bold predictions now. Phil, do you want to go over your first one and how it fared out?
Yeah, I had Rochester making the finals, and they got smoked by Vancouver in round 1. They were a good team throughout the year for sure. They had their ups and downs, their goaltending issues, and most of the team was still pretty good. I think it kind of came down to goaltending in the end. I think Hartley in that game against Vancouver did not look good. And he's had great games even throughout the season, so this isn't a complete, Hartley's awful by any means, but that game he looked rough, the team looked rough, and they just had no answer for what Vancouver was doing, and they did what they've been doing, which is make it to playoffs, do decent, and then get just demolished in the first round.
Yeah, I think I talked to Pat Gregoire about this, and I said, would it be a bigger statement of Vancouver winning it and advancing their timeline quicker than expected, or bigger disappointment with Rochester failing to make it out of the first round once again? And he said it was Vancouver, and I still go back to it. It might have just been Rochester, especially after seeing it, because I asked him this before we saw the game, and you and I both loved what Rochester's makeup was. On paper, we were like, this could be a title-winning team. Like, they could compete with Buffalo right now. But once the playoffs flip, it's just like some of these players aren't... I'm not saying that they're not playoff type of players, but I think they're missing something in that lineup that is for playoffs. Like, there's just something off, and I don't know. I don't think it's goaltending. I don't think it's the lack of offense. It might be on the back end that they're just missing that game time winning piece. And they added a Chad Tutton, they added an Ian Lord, some of these veteran pieces back there with this youth on this back end. It's just I do think that there has to be a time where you're looking at this core here. And I think they're going to give them another full year. I fully expect them to kind of run it back a bit more and say, okay, we went on that long stretch of the season where it's just we played every single week for the first, 14 weeks. And then at the end of the season, it was kind of like, okay, we played one, we're off a week, played one, off a week. So that might have played a factor into it. They might blame the schedule a little bit, but they definitely kind of ran out of juice come playoff times. And they ran into one of the hottest teams the hottest team in the league in Vancouver. And that was an unlucky draw, especially when you lose your one game and you ended up having to go to Vancouver. That probably also played a factor into it. But yeah, this was a disappointing end to a season that both of us had high expectation for Rochester.
PK, what was your first bold prediction?
So it's a good transition because I also had a Rochester player here. I had
Speaking
Matt Gilray wins transition player of the year, so even a better transition there. He didn't have a bad season. It's just the players he was going against in the transition department were just stupidly good. And I know I use that term a lot, but he was 7-13-20, 127 loose balls, 27 caused turnovers, 19 block shots. That is a solid season for one of the top transition players in the league, excluding guys that played mostly forward, like the Brian Coles and the Ian McKay, who's technically transition players, but I don't consider them transition players. He was tied for 9th in goals, he was 10th in assists, 11th in points, 13th in loose balls, tied for 4th in caused turnovers, and 3rd in blocks. But he wasn't even a finalist. Tarafanko, Grant, and Courier were rightfully so the finalists, with Owen Grant winning it. I think the logic was there. The execution was failed. And I think there were points where he was a bit too unnoticed on the team, and I think that definitely hurt him. And if you're looking at Tarafanko, Grant, and Courier, they were on some pretty good teams. And yes, San Diego was the 8th seed, but they came in with high expectations, kind of like Rochester. So I'm kind of talking myself in a corner here. But I still love Matt Gilray. I still consider him one of the better transition players in the league, and I still think he has the capabilities of winning a transition player of the year. But that's just me sugarcoating. I was dead wrong on this one.
I mean, if you go right up against Owen Grant, who, like you said, I think the big thing is impact on a nightly basis.
Yes.
Grant was always doing something out there and playing fantastic, but stats alone, Grant had 15, 9, and 24. So, I mean, 24 to 20 points, so similar-ish there. He had 103 loose balls. Gilray had 127 for transition. And then, where's the 28 caused turnovers to 27? So you're still right there. And then the big one was 27 block shots to 19. But overall, like compared to the actual transition player of the year, not that far off numbers wise. But like you said, I think the big thing is a player like Owen Grant, Tarafanko, Courier, every single night they were noticed by the other team, by their team.
They were threats you had to pay attention to.
Right. They were major impact players, whereas Gilray kind of disappeared on some nights.
So, Phil, what was your number 2 bold prediction? Did you get it right or wrong?
Yeah, if you want to talk about way off, this was one of them. Dyson Williams did not come into the league and take it by storm like Jeff Teat did. Jeff Teat continues to remain 1 of 1 right now. And Dyson Williams, I thought he might have the chance to break Jeff Teat's record of 110. He got 65 points, so I think just 2 or 3 more, 4, 5, 6 more a game, and he would have
started his season the way he finished his season.
Yes,
I think you had a much better chance of at least getting into the top 10. But yeah, he started too slow, and that offense was too good.
Yeah, and when he adjusted fantastic. And he finished very, very strong. Even halfway through the season, we went through our mid-season review, and we went over, and I thought that he had one of the better chances to win Rookie of the Year because of the trajectory he started to get himself on. And it's also hard to break into that kind of offense that already has a ton of young talent that just played a whole season together. So it took him a little bit to find his spot on that offense, but he did really take off. So like you said, if he had the second half also in the first half, it would have been a little different, but Teat just came into the league on fire and was ridiculous from day one. Really, really, really tough record to beat. I don't know. I mean, we got quite the couple of loaded drafts coming up here with some of the top players coming in, but that rookie season is just magical.
Yeah, I think if this helps, I think he's going to have a 110-point season at some point in his career.
Yes, I do believe so as well.
So these last two are very frustrating. My first one here, Colorado leading the league in scoring. I still claim that they had a very good chance of doing that, but then Zed Williams got hurt, and Eli McLaughlin left the team for firefighter school, and then Connor Kelly also got hurt. So the majority of their offense, especially the top performers, got hurt. They finished 10.83 in goals per game, and that was 10th in the league. At one point, they were sitting in 4th or 5th. Their offense was loaded. They were unbelievable. Every player in their offense was averaging at least 3 or 4 points per game, like 6 of them. It was insane how their offense was rolling. And then it just started crumbling apart. So I stand on the soil right here that they had a very good chance of it. Yes, I'm up in the second floor. There's no soil under my feet right now. There's actually a nice carpet. But I still believe that they had a very good chance of it. It's just it all fell apart, and it's so frustrating that everybody's going to be seeing that and just go, oh, man, you're an idiot. They finished 10th, and they don't look at the whole scheme of it and where they were to start the season because, my God, they had a good chance at it.
Oh, hang on. Sorry.
He's looking for numbers. He's doing math in his head.
I'm using my calculator here. I was like, something seems wrong. They were for the first 7 games of the season, they were at a pace of 13.4 goals per game. So
that's what I mean.
At that point, pretty fantastic. What did the Bandits finish with? 13.4?
I'm going to pull it up right now. Don't
I think
you
it was
worry.
Right around, it might have been 13.4 for the Bandits.
They were averaging 13.45.
There it is. So through the first 7 games, you were dead on that they could have been neck and neck with the Bandits for finishing. And then they broke, is what happened.
They all broke. Phil, what's your number 3?
My third one finally got a hit. Thank goodness. I mean, looking back at it now, it seems like a ridiculous bold prediction.
Remember, this was November. That's what we got to keep reminding everybody.
Right. This was before. I forgot what I think they talked about it a lot, but what was their record before the season? Last season?
Last year? It was 8-10 last year.
There it is. So mine was the Saskatchewan Rush making the playoffs for the first time since 2019. So they hadn't made it a really long time. So it was a bold prediction at the time. Like you just said, they were 8-10 the season before, so they were close-ish with a lot of those other teams, but didn't quite make it. This year, we all know how it went. Second seed, 13-5 record, tied with Buffalo for number 1, and made the finals and lost. So for a bold prediction, pretty good. Pretty good. That's all I got, though.
You nailed it. I think, we both had them as our 8th seed, so it's not like we were even expecting them to make the finals. We were just expecting them to make the playoffs, and that makes it bold. My last one, this one's even more frustrating than Colorado because this one was controlled, and the coach, man, he took me behind the woodshed and just beat me up. Jacob Dunbar would be second on Ottawa in points behind Jeff Teat. He finished 4th, and he only played in 12 games. I'm not sure why, but hopefully that somebody can answer this question. He was a healthy scratch for the back half of the season. He didn't play in this last 6 games. He was on the team. He was there. He was watching the games from the press box every single game. And guess what, Ottawa? Still didn't make the playoffs. So I hope you never make the playoffs again. And I hope Jeff Teat leaves Ottawa immediately because of what you did to my bold prediction. Yes, I'm taking this too far, but I don't care. He played in 12 games, 23, 15, and 38. He started so hot. Like, he was unbelievable. He was outpacing Jeff Teat right now. Like, it was unbelievable. Everybody's going, oh, man, who saw this coming? I did. I called it. Like, PK from the BSC called it. Like, I was right. It finished off, Connor Kiernan finished in second. He was averaging 3.82 points per game. Riley O'Connor finished third, 3.15 points per game. And then Dunbar finished 4th, 3.16. So yes, he would have still ended up pacing behind Connor Kiernan, but he was being worked out of the offense even the last 3 or 4 games of the ones he'd be playing it. It didn't make any sense. Like, I don't get it. This team was struggling for offense, and you sit a young superstar. Yes, I'm calling him a superstar because he should be a superstar in this league. He's scoring 4 goals, and you just put him on the bench. Like, it makes no sense. This is why Ottawa didn't make the playoffs. This is why New York never made the playoffs. This is why Jeff Teat's going to eventually leave your franchise because you do stupid decisions like this. Yes, again, taking it too far, but I take this personally because of what you did to my boy, Jacob Dunbar. He was on pace to do it. Like, he was on pace. He was outscoring Jeff Teat when this was going down, and I'm a genius. Like, I freaking called it. And then this happens. It's just, this is why I hate these bold predictions, because like the vision's there. And then these teams and these players are just like, ha, gotcha. And it just drains my bold predictions every year. It's just, I hate it. Sorry, that was my rant for this final rant for the in-season schedule.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for us to rant for the Bandits when they're 5 straight finals and won 3 in a row. It's tough. Tough to get a rant. It's
usually
out there.
Sabres.
We usually get 1 or 2 about something random, but it's tough. It's tough to get a rant. I do think they listen to the bold predictions, and as he continued to do better and better, they're like, we cannot let PK be correct.
It would go to my head.
So
it would definitely
I'm sorry.
Go to my head.
Yeah, exactly. They knew that for the good of the world, that they had to sit Jacob Dunbar for the second half of the season just to thwart your bold prediction and shut it right down.
What is it? Was it the Avengers with what did it cost us? Everything.
Yes.
If they would have left Jacob Dunbar and they would have made playoffs. Yeah, but what did it cost us?
They couldn't have it.
I would have burned this place down.
They just couldn't have it.
But Phil, before we go over our Bandits bold predictions, see if we did any better there, because we got 1 of 6 in our NLL bold predictions, even though it should have been 3 of 6, Colorado and Ottawa. Phil, let's go over our third and final sponsor of the show, Totally Buffalo Store.
Totally Buffalo Store's mission is to celebrate all things Buffalo with over 100 local artisans. Hopefully somebody got down to their Memorial Day celebration at Riverworks and got to meet some of those local artisans. But if you didn't, they are still your place to go if you need a gift for a friend or just want to be selfish and grab something for yourself. They offer 3 locations: 3328 Sheridan Drive in Amherst, 3459 Amelia Drive in Orchard Park, and 467 Center Street in Lewiston.
Yeah, I saw somebody posting online, hey, I didn't think you were open on Sundays. Yeah, they're open on Sundays. They said you got bad information. You definitely did. But I don't know if you heard, Buffalo Bandits just won their 3rd title. What? I'm not going to say the word. I probably shouldn't have made that in their title because Pat Riley's going to come after us. But they just won 3 straight titles. And if you want 3 straight title apparel, head down to Totally Buffalo Store. Head to their website, totallybuffalostore.com, because they are the best place to go to get decked out for the Buffalo Bandits in their 3 straight championships, their 7th title. I'm all flustered because of so much winning here. All 7 titles that they've won, 3 straight titles. Their merch is unbelievable. It's the stuff that you can't get anywhere else because they are local vendors. They are local artisans. They make that stuff perfect. And you can go down to the store and get that kind of stuff. You can definitely go to totallybuffalostore.com to pre-order all of the merch. And then next Friday and Saturday, we're plugging it early so you can plan your next weekend. The summer sale at Totally Buffalo Store is going on next weekend. $10 t-shirt tables and half off 40-ounce tumblers. Get down there, find out what other deals they got coming up, and find out what else they got. Check out their Facebook and Instagram page. And to order all that Bandits merch, go to totallybuffalostore.com, because again, you can't get this stuff in the big box store. You can't get this stuff everywhere else. Head to totallybuffalostore.com to get this pristine, awesome Bandit stuff, and then represent it at the parade on Friday. Phil, Bandits bold prediction. I'm looking at all the green. We did better here. Would you like to go over your first bold prediction for the Buffalo Bandits?
I would be honored. First one, hit on this one, and not only hit, but absolutely demolished.
You smashed this out of the park. It went into the canal, and then you rounded the bases, ran out to the outfield, jumped over to the wall, and jumped into the water, grabbed your own baseball, went back, put it in the pitcher's hand, and then you hit it over the wall again.
That is the most ridiculous
but
analogy
it's true. It is true.
Time. But it's true. That is how much I smashed this one out of the park. Paul Dawson will lead the league in block shots and break the single season record. He did that with ease and demolished pretty much everything. Previous record was 29. He had 53. That's insane. Next closest this year, who also broke the record, was Ian Lord at 37. And the previous record last season was 25. So, wild. Sorry, not last season's previous high was 25. The previous record was still 29. But Dawson demolished it. wasn't even close. And oh yes, his previous high was 25. So he over doubled his previous total. Insane season. And this is, I mean, I know records are meant to be broken and they all eventually will be, but this is one that will not be easy.
It's going to hurt the whole time.
It's going to hurt. And I mean, like we just said, the next closest this season was 37. Yes, that's a huge boost from even last year's or the previous record of 29. That still would have smashed the previous record. So you can say like, oh, it's going up and up, especially since they just started tracking the stat recently. But 53 is just a lot. That is a lot of block shots. So good luck to anyone who wants to go after that record. If Wire stays on the Bandits forever, he might get up there. Priolo also had a lot of block shots, but personally, it's like it's of all records to chase. That's not what I'm chasing. He can have it.
Yeah, that's the one you're looking at. Like, I don't want to get hit by a ball 53 times in a season. No, thank you.
No, I'm good.
I'll go sit my butt on the bench and just watch somebody else try to do that.
Yeah,
just go, that looked like it hurt.
I'll cheer them on. Yeah, go. Yeah, good block.
Good block. Yeah, watch me go score this one. My first one, Ian McKay will set career highs in goals, assists, and points. I was 2/3 right. His previous high in goals scored was 19. He had 37. Assists were 21. He got to 17. And his previous high points was 38. He got to 54. Just an unbelievable season by an unbelievable player. NLL Finals MVP for a reason. This man had never played forward before, and he just comes in and puts 37 on the board. It's unbelievable. We went into the season expecting him to be out the front door full time, but I don't think any of us expected, especially you and I, to see him out the front door this often. I thought he would play majority out the front door with some back end flashes, but we barely saw that. Maybe 2 games he was playing sometimes out the back door. One of them, I think it was the back-to-back after Belter got hurt and Matt Spanger got hurt, and I think Cam Wires was out as well. So I think he played out the back end on that back-to-back versus San Diego or Albany. I can't remember which back-to-back it was, but it's just an unbelievable season from an unbelievable player. And yes, he wasn't up for MVP, he wasn't up for Transition Player of the Year. It's his own fault for being this good at overall in the game. Like, no player should be able to go from a transition to a forward and put up the numbers he did in year 1. And no player should be able to just go, okay, I'm just going to go on the back end and be a transition player of the year again. It's just, he's so good at lacrosse that it's to a fault, if that makes sense.
Yeah. He might not get the accolades that Dane Smith does, but it does remind me of Dane Smith coming into the league as a defender, or even, I think they said in summer ball, he plays defense even now. Yeah. Which is just insane, but it's very similar. Ian McKay's played transition, he's played defense for most of his career, and not only just played defense, but played defense at an extremely elite level. He's always been one of the best defenders on Buffalo, and that was one of the things 2 years ago we talked about when he was slowly making some of the shift and he was having more opportunity out the front door with the offensive injuries. We're like, well, that's great and he's succeeding, but that's going to hurt the defense because he's needed back there and he's extremely good on defense. So do you really want to take that away from the defense? And looking at this year, yes, you do want to take that away from the defense if he's going to go up there and put 37 goals in like it's nothing. Now, the one negative I will say, and this goes to your 2/3, he does seem like he was the most selfish player on the team with the amount of goals to assist ratio. So, Ian, if you could just, maybe not score quite as much, pass it a little bit more. You're a little bit selfish on offense.
In his defense, between Dane and Josh, they had 192 assists. Yeah. There's not very many more to go around.
Him and Buchanan, actually, who also had his personal best for goals in a season, they were very similar in being selfish. Buchanan was 34 and 21, so he would have hit your. Each side needs one. He would have hit your 21. But yeah, and then McKay was 37-17. So, well, a couple selfish players, like you said, they need it. It actually is just incredible to kind of even just look at the numbers like that and see that what Dane and Josh do to set those players up so they can't get assists because they're too busy scoring the goal. It's wild.
Phil, can you keep the streak alive, or will it end at 2? What was your second bowl prediction? Did it come true?
It will end at 2, but it was not my fault. It was the voters' fault.
Now you're coming along to see how this works. To blame
Yeah.
everybody else except for you. I love it.
It was a great bold prediction that Vince would win goalie of the year. He was a finalist. He finished in the top 3, but everybody didn't want to see him win his 9th goalie of the year award, which is just selfish of them. He deserved it. Frank Scigliano did end up winning. Nick Rose also had a fantastic season, but he was a finalist, so I'm going to give myself a half credit. He was almost there, and he did everything he could to be goalie of the year. It went to the voters, and again, I think they didn't want to see it. It's like Dane Smith winning MVP every year. They just don't want to see it. And I get it. You want to give it to somebody else and be nice, but Vince was right there, and he could have won it.
It's like Scooby-Doo. I would have gotten away with it wasn't for your voters. My second one, I also didn't get right. I had Dane Smith will break the single season point record. And again, very close, but I blame Dane Smith for this one. Record was 137 and still is, and he still holds it. He had 134. He now owns 5 of the top 8, and they are all 132 points or higher. And 4 of those 5 came post-COVID. So yeah, all 4 seasons post-COVID. He's been over 134 points. The top record, 137, he set in 2016. Second, 135 in 2002. He's got 134
22.
Twice. What was that?
You said 2002, but
yes, 2022. I'm sorry, he was not playing in 2022 or 2002. He was 10. He probably could have been and probably put up tons of points. 134 twice, 2014 and 2015. So 134. I did it again. 2024. These years have just messed me up. 2024 and 2025, 134. And then let's see if I can get this one. 132 in 2023. Nailed that one. But yeah, that's his worst season, was 132 since COVID. Yeah, he was close, but I blame Josh Byrne for this one because Josh Byrne also got 134. So thanks a lot, Josh.
Byrne took too many of the points from him.
Yeah.
The last
He's like,
2
watch
seasons.
me get assists here.
Right. It's like, I want an assist as well. And then Dane's bit of his slowdown in the middle of the season there where I was yelling at him. It cost him the title. But the sheer consistency from 22 to 25, that's insane. 132, 34, 34, 35. That's insane. Nobody should be at that level of consistency at the very top of the league every single season for 4 years in a row.
He's a cheat code. Like, he's one of those ones that he's like GTA where you put in a cheat code. That's what Dane Smith is. It's not fair to the rest of the league.
No. And good thing he's in Buffalo. My final one was Cam Wires would lead the team and cause turnovers with 30 plus. He was horrible. He only had 14. He actually had a fantastic season. It just was not in the cause turnover department. He was
the whole team was down
line
this year on cause turnovers.
Yes.
They're like, watch us block shots instead. You can hold the ball.
This wasn't their focus. They were like, we'll get the rebound eventually. Just keep hitting us, and it's not a big deal. We said 27. Very, very good job by Weiss. Piolo only 17. Wires only 14. So not anywhere close. Well, you said all their numbers were down. Wires was needed elsewhere, and I think Wires still had a extremely good season. He has a very, very bright future as one of the best defenders in the league.
So our last one here, and this one I was hammering it home nonstop as a bold prediction. I probably should have been a bold prediction. I apologize, John. I should have made this my first bold prediction ever on here, and we would have ended this. I had John Gertler wins the Tom Borelli, and I will admit I was fighting for it hard, and then I saw the rest of the finalists. I was like, oh, no. Like, is this going to be another year where he gets shut out because he's going against Teddy and Mackey, who are unbelievable? Again, we're not down-talking them whatsoever. It's just John deserves one. And this was the year of Mackey, and Teddy is Teddy. And then we see John. It's just like, he needs one of these ones. And a lot of people are saying it's like the Tom Borelli he won this year is for all the past Borellis that he should have won. But I nailed this one. I'm happy that this was a bold prediction that I had. I'm happy that this is my most proud bold prediction that I've ever hit. in any of the sports or anything that I ever covered, because he rightfully deserves this. I mean, for all he does for the Buffalo Bandits, everything that he does for the league, the articles he writes, the games he calls. I mean, I don't remember the last time he missed a game. It's unbelievable that what he's able to do, being able to talk to him at halftime. It's a memory that I'll never be able to forget, because he went out of his way to ask me to be on the show. I'm like, yeah, of course I'll be on the show. Like, I'm going to be talking to the legendary John Gertler on the Bandits halftime show. Of course, that's going to be a fantastic time. But yeah, this was a bold prediction that I'm so happy finally came true, and that I absolutely nailed. So apparently all I needed to do was, again, I apologize, John. All I had to do was just make this a bold prediction, and it came true. So 4 years too late for me. My bad.
Yeah, I think the easiest and best comparison, and an extremely good one, is Rick Jeanneret for the Sabres.
Yeah.
Anytime you can compare another broadcast to the legendary Rick Jeanneret is fantastic. And I think Gertler, I mean, it's a very obvious comparison, but Gertler is to the Bandits what Rick Jeanneret was to the Sabres. And I think he more than deserves this award. Like you said, I think it's for a culmination of his career. It's been a long time coming, but congratulations, John. You do a lot of fantastic things for the Buffalo Bandits organization.
And again, no shot at the Jenners. They're probably going to win
Absolutely
multiple more Borellis. I think year of Mackey is going to continue into next year as well. But
so.
Bold predictions. Phil nailed the only one of our NLL bold predictions. We nailed 3 of 6 with the Bandits bold predictions. That's why our Bandits-centered show, because we're better at that than the NLL in general. And then 5 of 8 playoff bold predictions to nail 5 of 8 playoff teams. We went over what the contract situation looks like for Buffalo. We'll dive into it more later, and then the CBA talk, and we kind of went over what the off-season schedule looks like. So, Phil, heavy loaded show, kept it right around an hour. Is there anything else you would like to add to this final in-season episode before we turn it over to the off-season mode, and we'll just be talking to all the listeners out there once a week, every Wednesday?
A couple quick things. One, on NLLstats.com, this day in NLL history, May 29, the Bandits would lose to the Colorado Mammoths 16-10 in 2023 before going on to win their first of the 3 championships. And speaking of the 3 championships, as PK was alluding to earlier, for those who don't know, because it came up with the Kansas City Chiefs, three-peat is copyright. It is locked away.
Why'd you say that? Now we're going to get sued.
And yeah, that's all right. What are they going to
We
sue?
did make the title of it 3-peat last week.
We did.
We're probably already sued.
But if you don't see any merchandise with that kind of logo on it or anything, it's because it is copyright by somebody.
Pat Riley for the Miami Heat.
NBA. Yeah.
He did it with Chicago, I think it was.
So yeah, you will not see that anywhere, because it can't be anywhere. Well, it can be, but they'd have to pay, and that's way too much money. But finally, congratulations, and don't forget that you won 3 championships. You didn't, but the team won 3 championships in a row. Keep living it, keep enjoying it. Don't think too much about the future yet. I'm trying to force myself to live in the moment a little bit more and stop thinking so much already about the off season, everything coming up, the CBA, just literally everything in the off season. Try to soak it in and enjoy it. It hasn't even been a full week yet since they won. So just stop thinking about the future quite this much and enjoy. And anyone going Friday, have a great time at the celebration.
Yeah, turn us on while you're listening and waiting for the players.
Yes.
Play it in your ear. Why not?
Maybe they'll play it live there. You know,
Yeah,
they'll just
maybe.
blast us over the speakers.
If those work. Maybe the microphones
That's
will work.
fair.
Maybe that's why they were charging up all the microphones for this this party here. But yeah, on our next show, which again will be Wednesday, look for the nominations for our BSC 4th annual award show. And then the following Wednesday, again, I'm prefacing that because some people are going to be trying to listen on Monday, and we will not be there. The following Wednesday will be the award show. Again, make sure you look for the social media posts everywhere for the fan favorite vote for the BSC Bandits Award Show. That will be out on Monday. Voting will last a full week. All you got to do, again, comment your favorite player for the Buffalo Bandits of the 2024-25 season, and he will be entered in, and we'll count up all the totals. Don't worry, I will count, and I got to nice Excel spreadsheet already ready for it. But again, thank you again for a fabulous season 4 covering this team. Again, we're not going anywhere. We're just trimming back the fat and going to one show a week. But again, thank you all for listening, because as far as we go, we're only going because of all you listeners. All the experiences that we're able to get, the press passes, the talking to other media outlets, talking to players, growing this funny little idea we had 4 or 5 years ago, is because people listen, and that's the reason why we continue to expand our coverage. So really, thank you for listening. Thank you for reading. Thank you for sharing whatever. Again, we always say it all the time. If you take any time from your day to look into anything that we post, we truly do appreciate it. We probably don't say it enough, but we really do appreciate everything out there. So thank you for season 4 of the BSC covering the Buffalo Bandits, because it's one for the memory books. We've accomplished so much. There's other times to go over memory lane, but we're not going to go over it here. But again, next show will be next Wednesday. Check for all the off-season stuff coming up, because we got a lot on the docket and a lot of improvements we're going to try to make. So thank you all for listening to this final in-season episode of the BSC. We will be back Wednesday with our next episode. Thank you to Tap That Tap Room, Totally Buffalo Store, and Phrase Flowers for sponsoring this episode and this podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Read Phil's article. Came out on Tuesday. Still relevant. Still memory lane of the championship. Check out our store on our link tree on our social media sites, or at the shop tab at the top of the website. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. Until Wednesday. Bye-bye.